everybody. Welcome to the cinema.
Used to be. Don't look back. That gag never gets old when you go to talk and then I do it anyway.
Taste is a funny thing.
It is.
Because as we find every single week, we talk about things that we like or that we don't like, and we examine why we like them or don't like them. And the answer usually comes to, I don't know.
It just makes me feel good. Or dead.
What we normally do on this podcast is each of us takes a movie, a film that we grew up with.
And we put it through the grinder.
Or that used to mean a lot to us. But we haven't seen it in a long time, so we're not so sure about it anymore.
And it almost doesn't even matter. It's like your old best friend who's recently become some sort of fascist something. some sort of bad thing. Yes. Okay. And but still the role they served.
Good.
That's good. Got it. Okay. But the role they served in your past still is. It's still.
You can't coffee enema that out of there.
You cannot.
It's still in there.
That's there for the long haul.
Metaphor. Better metaphor though. A load-bearing beam. It holds up the foundation. Holds up the roof.
Right. Let's go inspect that beam if you want, but it's staying either way. So we both watched the movie that our partner has suggested that is something that is important to them or from their past, and then we discuss. Trying
to figure out mainly how we feel about these movies. I select a movie and I want to know 15 years later, what do I think of this movie?
Right.
No better way to figure out how I think about this movie than to vouch for it and to show it to somebody whose opinion I respect. And if I find myself
not that I deserve
getting nervous, being like, we're 35 minutes into this movie and we're both yawning and looking at the time and wondering, thinking things like, really? This got like a 78 on Rotten Tomatoes? Okay. All right. I guess people used to be stupid. It's what I think from time to time.
Oh,
but
it's a very specific Rotten Tomatoes score.
But again, we keep coming to this thing where we react to certain things, and we can push on why we have those reactions, but it's kind of hard to articulate exactly what those things are or if they mean anything anyway. Like earlier, I was listening to the Beatles.
Where are you?
Dear Prudence. From the White Album, 1968. Lacey comes into the room and she's...
I didn't come in. I heard it from afar and it irked me. And we were just discussing yesterday, try and name a Beatles song you don't like. And we both really couldn't come up with any.
Hello, Goodbye.
I know. You came up with...
Or anything written by George Harrison.
It's just rude. You came up with that one. Right. But it took me a minute. I don't remember the song anymore. But then you played that. It's just very homogenous. It was just very... Ding, 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 ding. That's all I think it did. And I'm probably not right.
But the main thing is you said, this just sounds boring. This is musically boring. And I wanted to be like, get all like mansplaining about it. If you could only listen to this and appreciate the sonic techniques.
You said I wasn't allowed to listen to it a room away from an Alexa.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Audio
it is hard to... It's not even audio snobbery. It's just I wouldn't want anybody's... Anyway. But
I know, but I can just tell from the other room that I don't care. This is not... You can't surround it by all the other Beatles deliciousness and then cram that shit in there.
And I don't want to be the dude who's like, you have to really dig in and listen to the...
It's too late.
Listen to the qualities. Listen to the way that the drumming changes tempo at the end and speeds the song up into a song that you didn't even know you were listening to.
Fine, but I shouldn't have to put that much work into it, and I guess it's the Beatles' own fault. You said you made me feel bad for not being down with a non 2.5 minute ditty, whatever you called it. And well, that's what they were masters of. And then they crafted other things and became
better
but still catchy and still I still do like to get caught up in the catchiness. So when they're 85% all of the other stuff and then they have that. I'm sorry if I'm not getting down with your...
But my only point was you used the word boring, and I objected to that because I was thinking, like, how can you call this boring?
I barely thought about it.
What does boring mean? Like, boring is just to the beholder. It's just if I'm bored...
And it was my mood set. We were cleaning up. We were getting our kid off to bed. So, you put on the stuff that instantly makes me happy, and I'm cleaning up ball pit balls and doing it in a...
We work at a McDonald's.
Right? From the 90s.
I mean, we own a McDonald's.
Okay. Anyway, and doing it with a pep in my step, and then that freaking just bummer of a song comes on, and then all of a sudden my pep is gone from my step, and now I'm just walking.
Even now, I want to be like, how could you call it a bummer of a song? It's an exciting song.
It's fucking boring. It was boring compared to the peppiness that was surrounding it. It's their fault.
This is the thing. This is all very fluid and weird and contingent.
Okay.
Based on a number of factors that we could never possibly understand.
But maybe
Our movies this week
there we go.
are Lacey's is 1992's A League of Their Own.
Yes.
Yes, baseball picture.
Okay. Which there's not a baseball movie I don't like.
Really?
But I hate baseball. I don't hate baseball. I'm not going to go to a game.
It's the most cinematic sport. Actually,
it is.
Well, you
can build a story around it, and all different kinds of shaped people can be a baseball player. So I just think there's way more. There's depth of character.
There's like a saying in sports writing that the smaller the ball, the better the story. Golf actually is known as the best storytelling sport.
What about marbles?
There you go. Even
the
better.
Best.
But when you have a lot of time, when it's it's such an individual sport, so it's just you alone with your terror, just the batter against the pitcher, and a lot of time,
right?
Just to think. And if you're golf, it's just you and the ball.
Sure. Well, and any sport that really highlights ticks, and there's not a sport more able to highlight a person's little superstitious ticks and like rituals before hitting a ball, catching a ball, going on the field. That is so, and unless you're a quarterback, you don't get to see them so highlighted as you do with baseball, when literally every single team member gets an opportunity to go up to bat and do their freakish routine.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dustin Pedroia with his gloves. He tightens his gloves like 4 times per hand and then swings. And this is why every baseball game takes 7 hours, because every single goddamn player has one of these things they have to do.
Right.
And the pitcher has to scratch his ass and then talk to the coach. And then my movie is City Lights. It's a silent film.
Right. Less talking in that
Charlie
one.
Chaplin movie.
But still talking. Lots of talking in a silent film.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Later on in the show. I just silenced Lacey like a picture.
Great gag.
So, A League of Their Own is a 1992 baseball picture, as I mentioned before. It's a baseball picture, and it was directed by Penny Marshall, and it stars Gina Davis and Tom Hanks and Lori Petty. Is that her name? All right. I'll hand the floor to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I saw this movie when it came out. You can't find a movie more safe to watch with your mom. Instantly, I didn't know for a long time that it was based on anything true. Just love the idea of tomboy girls being pretty. Not that they were pretty, but that could still be thought of as glamorous, or people could come around to it. Because I was always definitely rough, not good at sports, just covered in dirt. So a tomboy without any of the goods.
There's something very interesting, very, very poignant about the idea of a woman, of anybody, but especially a woman getting to like rule in your own name. It's like, I'm doing a sport and I'm the attraction here, is I'm playing the sport and you're here to see me playing the sport. And your attraction to me isn't that I'm pretty, but that I can get dirty.
Sure, well, that's what they came around to, but definitely that wasn't the marketing necessarily.
But if there's an arc to any of the characters, it's Gina Davis is eventually realizing she needs to put herself first, and
that is to go home to her husband.
No, and that is to fake like she's going home to her husband and then come around.
Fake.
Okay, but she comes.
They got all the way to Wichita Falls.
In the end, she plays Game 7 because she decides, I want this for me.
Sure, but then doesn't do another season. It's travesty.
Well, I mean, yes, but like the queen who is not ruling the kingdom in the name of her son until he comes of age, but the queen is her own queen because I'm the ruler.
Just like that old trope.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like Cersei.
Done. Got it.
Cersei, after
Gina
Tommen
Davis
dies,
is just like Cersei.
After Tommen dies, spoiler alert, and she takes over.
She can't do
and
spoiler alert
bombs the
after.
mosque, and puts on the
I'll
outfit.
show you why I'm going to be the best queen ever. You're all dead.
Yeah.
She nailed it.
So what else? You saw this movie when you were how old?
92, so second grade, so it's 8 years old. This is the same. Anyway, the last week's movie was the same area, right? Yeah. I don't know, and
Or
it
2
was
weeks
like
ago,
it was
Ace
like
Ventura?
sure, yes, and it was like a girls bonding kind of. It was like Travelhood of Sister Pants or Yaya Sisterhood before I had really stumbled into a movie like that. It was kind of a not so sad Fried Green Tomatoes or Steel Magnolias. There was
Yeah.
something girl bonding about it.
It has your period piece or your
How dare you?
but
Was that a pun?
no.
Oh,
I mean, yes.
I say girl bonding. And okay.
But the period you seem to like in movies is the 50s through the 70s. It's not the 40s, which is kind of a very different era.
But I do love the swing music part, and and because these girls they're progressive, right? So it still feels like my sweet spot. Mm-hmm. The styling and that they curse. I love May. I wouldn't be I know she wouldn't be my friend.
So who are the characters? We
Madonna is May.
Okay.
Gina Davis is
have Dottie.
Dottie, Queen of Diamonds. Kit is Lori Petty. That's the kid's sister, who has got the most piercing blue eyes.
Rosie O'Donnell plays.
Rosie Wright, we're in one of the movies where I think she's funny. It's like 3 where I think she's funny. She plays
Now and Then.
No,
Tarzan.
that is not new.
Harriet the Spy.
No, Beautiful Girls, and so on.
M. Night Shyamalan's Wide Awake.
Exactly.
M. Night Shyamalan made a movie with Rosie O'Donnell and a child.
What? And that
It
was
was
it?
the movie he made before Sixth Sense. It
What?
was like a comedy.
No.
It was
No.
like- yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Uh-huh.
Okay. No.
Wide Awake.
Can we? Should we?
No.
No.
I've tried to find it before at the library.
Wait. So
I
you've
can't
never
find
seen it? What's
No,
the
I've never
what's
seen
the
it.
RT on that joint?
Let me see.
Well, no, it's not that important. 78% for League of Their Own, though.
Were you nervous about it?
Yes, I was. I don't know why. But I mean, how can you be nervous about Tom Hanks? But this is still very young Tom Hanks. He's very reminiscent of Woody is the thing that it echoes the most for me, the cowboy from Toy Story. But this is very like big Tom Hanks, or he's so
Movie
playful.
big.
Yeah,
Well,
the movie
but
big.
for the first half up until
Sure,
the mid 90s, this was what he did.
Yes. Oh no, completely. But I forgot because this movie, in my mind, but just because of the death part, it is a movie of sadness in my head. Because I the entire movie, I'm waiting for Betty to get her damn telegram, and then the rest of the movie, I can't believe Betty got that telegram. Richie.
It's interesting. See, I never would have pegged this movie as that kind of movie. Like I was aware of the scene. I saw the scene, but
Right.
it doesn't. I forgot it the instant it was over.
It was okay. It was okay for me this time, but I remember being very scared of war. I want to say Desert Storm was still a thing at that time. Am I naming?
92.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been over a year ago, but yeah. Would
I
have been
just
in the
remember
air.
my dad with a straight face telling me that he might be drafted.
Well,
And I didn't know that.
there's no draft.
I didn't know that.
Right.
I was 7 when he told me that. He's an alcoholic elderly man, and he would have been like in his 40s, I guess.
No,
I remember being very scared of the draft and the idea of a person delivering a flag to you or a telegram.
what this movie has in it is there's a fear that the major leagues are being so depleted of talent because all of the baseball players are going to fight. There's no draft, obviously. There hasn't been every war is tragic and every war is a big deal, but we haven't had a major war. I mean, if we had a world war or a war approaching that size, the draft would absolutely be brought back. And like every able-bodied man that we all know would probably have to go, like who's under a certain age.
Right.
Like that, if it goes
not-
on and on because wars don't end anymore, like, yeah, you're just going to need more and more bodies. I mean, if assuming that wars aren't different and now just nuclear weapons get launched and that's the end. But that is like, it's so funny to think that the military is so siloed off now, but in the 40s, they actually were worried baseball was going to go away because all the players were fighting in the Pacific and in Europe.
Elvis was there.
I didn't know
crying
that.
out loud.
I didn't know that the World Series in 43, 44, and 45 were all very depleted of, like, they were all just ringers than like 1 or 2 stars per team. I didn't know that.
I
You
didn't
know
either.
that this. So did you know this was a true story?
I don't know. Are there pictures at the end that like?
I think so. I feel
Okay,
like there
then
are.
I must have known, but I quickly forgot. It just seems too silly. Not silly. It just seems like this is so cool. I should have known about it by now. Like, and so clearly it's fake. But I did. This was a rough movie to film. Or at least there was a lot of injuries because the one who plays Evelyn, is that the one that can't read? I don't know. So has anyone seen my new red hat? That one. She broke her nose with a baseball glove.
Okay.
And then the bruise that showed, the League of Their Own bruise, is so iconic. That was real. And a lot of them, a lot of them had those because sliding in skirts is no joke.
I read that the casting process for the movie, a prerequisite to audition was you had to at least be able to be trained to play baseball. So you had to have some athletic prowess. They had to scout you basically to see if they thought you had the potential. A lot of the women who play on the team in the movie did have some experience with softball or baseball. Gina Davis did not, but she was very athletic. She's a very athletic person. I think the woman who plays Marla was a baseball player.
So not an actress.
Actress too, but actually did play baseball.
What's up with Madonna? Why did she end up in this? Was she just having a moment?
So I read that she wanted to just stretch her talents and
So she was
diversify her portfolio. Let me ask
pithy-
you about this. You're a big Madonna fan.
Sure. Well, loosely. I'm a fan of her songs that I like. I wouldn't say as a person I'm into her. She's
Or that
always
you like listening to her modern catalog or anything.
sure.
like
Yeah,
that?
none of that.
Okay.
I'm very early 90s, 80s Madonna fan.
But she's like one of your major artists. That period of time is one of your major
Okay.
favorite things.
Continue
right?
with
Isn't
your
it?
questioning.
Isn't it?
No, I would never, like, I wouldn't have, always liked her style. I always knew I would never want to have a conversation with her.
I'm asking about her music. If we were
Yes,
doing
her music, I just said.
Okay.
80s, early 90s, I'm all about it.
As far as her acting, though, there are like she's well known to be a bad actress, right?
She
And-
is?
Yeah, and there's always like
What else she-
there's always, but I feel like the quote was always there's the one good Madonna performance, and I can't remember if this was supposed to be the movie.
What are the
that's
other ones?
it.
I can't think of them.
Well,
That's probably not a good sign.
there was Die Another Day,
What did she do? Did she do Like a Prayer for a movie?
Desperately Seeking Susan,
Oh, yes.
Evita, Dick Tracy, Body of
Evita.
Evidence,
I want to say Evita is when, didn't she get like nominated for some shit?
Swept Away.
No, she just was nominated for like the song, I believe.
Who's That Girl? Vision Quest.
Okay, there's too many things now. I mean, she's fine. I think she plays she plays at her level here. They don't give her much to do.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she was good or
No,
bad.
she was fine. She was just like a pissy New Yorker. It worked.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask about. Is
Yeah,
did
and she's-
is this the good Madonna performance, or what did you think?
Oh,
of her
I have no
anyway?
fucking idea.
Yeah,
Clearly,
I
I
didn't
don't
know
know.
either. She seems
No.
fine. Yeah,
It's fine. Yeah, she didn't. She played to her strong suit, which is she's very pretty and plays that like that cute Cupid doll kind of thing very well. Also, her dance part I love. I'm a sucker for a dance scene. Mm-hmm. Even though you can
I
see
don't
her
even remember a dance
control
scene.
tops, the swinging dancing.
I remember swing dancing. Yeah,
That would be her.
It's interesting to see like music that would be rock and roll in like 7 years. I'm always interested to see that.
Well,
Like
so what was
what's dangerous music in the 40s?
I got you. Well, that was the suds bucket. So into singing in Melvin. Do you read the oral history? Do you know the deal with why Rosie O'Donnell got the part?
I don't know. I think she just auditioned for the part and got it. I don't know if she auditioned, but
Was it a
she
baseball angle at all? No.
she had some experience with baseball. She was, I don't know, she seemed kind of like tailor-made for the role.
Yes, but I
She
don't know
wasn't-
what else would have been there. Yeah, I mean, clearly.
She was an up-and-coming comedian and actress. Was a few years away from really breaking out, but this was probably most people's first exposure to her. And she's,
Yeah.
if you haven't like Chris Tucker in Friday, like a little of her goes a long way, but when you first see her, you're like, oh yeah, that's the I like that.
Yeah, I always liked her until I didn't.
Yeah. She would, because they had really long filming days to entertain the extras and the people in the stands, Rosie O'Donnell would do stand-up and then would also perform Madonna songs, and Madonna would get mad about it.
To say which ones?
So like Vogue and Holiday.
Oh, okay.
Stop singing my songs.
Like in earnest, she'd get mad?
I don't know. It didn't say. It didn't say she had a winking emoji or anything. She was just...
Those are mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are my precious songies.
But it did say that they were friends.
Yeah.
Or were there any...
It said they were friends, that Rosie was the one person who was not afraid of Madonna.
That annoys me. Because why...
Wouldn't you be afraid of Madonna?
Well, not... I hate that she gives off that's the allure she has. And that she knows it about herself and then comments on it. Because
comments on it.
No, that means that's something she's cultivated.
Yeah.
She's the only one that's not scared. Quit being fucking scary, you wench. Why?
That's fair.
All right.
As we said, this is set during World War II. Some of the owners of Major League Baseball teams, and this really happened, wanted to keep baseball, because the Major League product was suffering so much, to keep baseball, to make it fresh and keep it in the public consciousness until, the stars returned home. They wanted to start a new league with women players. Mm-hmm. They called it the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Girls that can be professional.
Notice they keep saying girl. These are all girls, even though these are women in their 20s and 30s. They're girls.
Being permitted to tour around in tour buses alone with a chaperone, though, that's very ahead of its time. It seems like one of the biggest adventures you could hope for.
Sure, absolutely. So it was started by, for some reason, the character in this movie is called, I forget what he's called, Harvey,
yeah.
and he stands
Harvey
in for
Boss.
the real life Tom Wrigley, or I don't know if Tom's the first name, but the guy who the Cubs
Wrigley
owner,
gum.
the Wrigley chewing gum scion, was the brainchild behind the whole thing. But this is all very, very fictionalized. The characters of Dottie and Kit are totally fabricated and have the most pat, like, sports movie cliche story that you can have, I think, which is really one of my big problems with the movie.
Well, like a kid sister wrangle? I mean, like what do you mean? How is it?
The falling
natural,
out, the I'm overshadowing you.
Oh, and where the big climax is her letting the ball rolling from the head.
Showdown between those two.
Yeah, the parts that really bothered me this time, and they never bothered me before, where it didn't need to have Dottie from the future and her whole thing with her daughter and her grandkids, and hey, let the little guy win. It's like, okay, you really miss your husband. Fuck, you live in this room because he died a year ago.
It seemed to like really be a plague of movies at that time that you needed to have the wraparound story, you needed to have the modern story.
Right?
Titanic was a ship of dreams, and it was. I'm on the Titanic. It's 1912.
Okay. But that one makes way more sense.
I know. In Titanic, it's good. In this one, what's the point of it?
Why? Yeah, it didn't need it. It could have just ended and started.
This was important, and we liked it.
Right. And like, were we supposed to feel really moved, like Kit and her really made up at the end because they hugged and she's got a million fucking Mormon children? What the hell was that?
And then the old Stillwell... Is that his name?
Yeah, Stillwell Angel, because he's there because his mom died. And like they each have the conversation with
the past 6 months.
Okay, with their ancient selves, they each have a conversation. Oh, well, he died. Oh. And oh, well, mom died. Oh. Guys, you're all in your goddamn late 80s. Yeah. Do we have to do this conversation with every group?
Baseball kills again. My favorite part was, come on, Peaches, let's take a team photo. And like the half of the women snap into a perfect front row and crouch down into a pose like they've been waiting and rehearsed it for 30 years to take the perfect team photo.
Well, they're the members. I'm not going to sing.
They even sing the fucking song.
They sing it 3 times. Gross. I never noticed they sang it 3 times. I thought it happened once. 3 fucking times. And Madonna doesn't even sing it. They've got the beauty queen to sing it.
I like.
You think Madonna was Madonna? You think Madonna was pissed? She didn't get to be the singer. She has the credits.
Was modern Madonna in the wraparound scene? I don't remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she hugs modern Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah. But none of these are the same actresses made up, which would have been better.
Right.
Because
Gina Davis.
no,
Oh, right. That's why her voice looks so strange. It's mapped on.
is it?
Yeah, it's the whole time. Well, because Gina Davis has this disembodied voice anyway. Even when she's speaking, it seems like it's coming out of a ghost. It's this angelic, light, fluffy, velvety, super her voice. I don't know how to explain it, but I just did.
Yeah, very well said.
It just sounds
Something a little husky
ghostly
about it.
Yes, but it's like it wraps
corn
around
husk.
you. Yeah. Anyway, so it floating on the lips of someone who's not really doing it, super weird. But the old lady looked enough like her that I was confused the whole time if it was her. It almost looks like another young person made up to be an old person and just not Gina Davis. It's strange.
On the whole, well, I guess I appreciate that this is, Penny Marshall said they wanted to make a sports movie about women where women get to be the heroes, but not make it a women's sports movie. Like, this is just a sports movie with women as the leads. I appreciate that. I appreciate telling the story that needs to be told.
I don't know that she actually did that, but it seemed like it had a lot to do with the fact that they were women.
But a lot of the appeal is that it's a sports movie, right? Of what it's like to be on a sports team. It wasn't so much about them blazing new trails and the
No, it was more about the bullshit hoops that they had to go through because they were women, which
I was
that
going to
was
say
fine.
it's not so much about those hoops.
Well, with the chaperone and the etiquette school and the altered uniforms that actually physically injured them way more than men.
I guess. And the most famous scene is there's no crying in baseball.
Oh, right.
And that is based on the idea that women with their emotions,
who need to bring their kids along because their husbands say, just shut up and do it.
Okay. No, you're right. I felt much more like it was just a typical sports movie. Or like...
As much as it could have been about women in that time trying to be away from their family and have a life of their own, yeah.
Yeah. There's something... like a year ago, I watched the movie Philadelphia because Jonathan Demme died, and Tom Hanks. That's the movie that
I want to see that movie. Why'd you watch it without me? It's one of those ones that you just should at some point see it.
I thought I'd seen it when I was a teenager, and I was worried. Like, its reputation is kind of soured because, like very earnest handling of
AIDS.
And homophobia in the early 90s. Like, how's it going to hold up now? It's actually really good, but there's something so amazing about seeing Tom Hanks from this period. Mm-hmm. Just at like his young, magnetic,
I know.
Charismatic,
he's like twinkling
best.
And like energy that for day, like you want to bottle it.
Yeah.
He's just like, pop.
He's the best part about this movie.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say this isn't even anywhere near one of his best performances, but he's he just has it.
Yeah, I mean, he literally twinkles.
Yeah.
Like a star.
There was a scene where he and Gina Davis kiss, and they had to cut it at the behest of the real life baseball players from the time who said they did not appreciate a woman kissing another man while her husband was away at war. So they cut that scene.
I'm glad they did. It would have added a level of complication that didn't need... Not because this movie wasn't trying to be complicated. That would add a weird complication. I mean, there was already that tension, and doing the kiss part would have just been like, well, now you've ruined it.
I appreciate any movie that shows professional respect and friendship between a man and a woman that isn't.
Yes, it didn't. Why did it have to go there?
Right,
Exactly. Because they seem to just appreciate each other for what they were capable of. So that would cheapen it.
Yeah. They called this baseball, but it was actually a odd hybrid of baseball and softball.
Underhanded pitches?
They threw overhand in the movie, but in reality, the league started off throwing underhanded and gradually started allowing more overhand throwing. They pitched from a mound, unlike in softball, but the mound was much closer to home plate. The base paths were shorter. The ball was the size of a softball, which is considerably bigger than a baseball.
I'm aware of that.
I don't know. Like, I like this movie enough, but like just very close to not liking it. If they'd gotten rid of the modern story that flashback, I would have liked it more. Even so, I guess it
was cutesy.
It's cute. If you grow up with it, quoting it, but I guess I don't see what's so charming about it.
It was modern in 92. it was empowering then when there weren't a ton of things like that. Other than that, you've got Thelma and Louise, who's also Gina Davis, and you got to commit suicide to be a powerful woman then, who's running from their abusive whatever. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of girl power stuff then.
True. Even now, there aren't many good women's sports movies.
Well, I don't, but you don't need,
yeah,
sports. But you can be empowered in plenty of ways. But this was as close as you got to being empowered, not through sex, is this movie.
Yeah. Ruling in your own name. Like Cersei.
Thank you for correcting me. Man.
I wasn't correcting you. I was adding on.
Feels like you kind of did.
No, I was adding on.
No, you should get the last word because
I
you're
was
the man.
building on.
No, you should definitely do it. Husband, we're married.
To each other.
We didn't even say our names in this one.
I'm Matt Stokes.
I'm Lacey Roth. Now they know everything.
3, 4. Everybody, love me.